So welcome back guys to another video of Shadow Slave, and I would like to say one thing that I got sick in the middle, and I got very sick, so I could not record or anything, but and I gave into the temptation and read some Shadow Slave chapters, and by some I mean a lot. So we left on the chapter 2974, and now I am at I am going to read 2994. So I read approx 20 chapters of recording. So I am very sorry for that. But I would like to continue from here, reading Shadow Slave chapters on record while recording. So let's continue, and today we are going to read chapter 2994 called Molten Depths. And to give you oh my god, it's a huge chapter, 2800 words approximately. Okay, so to give you a brief of previous whatever I did not read on recording. So basically Sunny killed the wild thieving bird and got his fate back. He is now a carrier of nightmare spell. The wild thieving bird died by Sunny's hand and then stole some of the Shade's citadel as well, and a few things, a few memories, and he then went by itself, escaping from Sunny. Then we have Cassie becoming supreme, and her supreme ability is she could summon anyone she remembers. Then we have new moderate, which is a combination of every moderate, kindred and moderate both. He is attacking the night garden to take ownership of that, whereas Effie is fighting against a cursed demon. No, sorry, not a cursed demon. Sorry, Effie is fighting against a supreme demon. Supreme demon. Uh, it's actually the Valor Butler. He is actually a golem. He's a supreme demon. F is fighting him to gain control of Bastion. Whereas our Rain, she has gone to the Ivory Tower to take control of it. And at Ravenheart, Kai is being chased by a dragon, which is a cursed devil. A cursed devil, man. I think it's absurd. Kai is being chased by a cursed devil while Jet and Fiend are also there to help him. And that's the gist of it. And Cassie has summoned the Mad Prince. The Mad Prince is fighting Asterion at the moment to buy time for Cassie to mass edit everyone's memories to make everyone forget about Asterion. And now Sunny has uh, met Nephis again after her remembering everything through the broken eternity. And it's the next chapter, and we are going to read what happens next. In the Hall of Forbidden Ruins at the height of the Ebony Tower, something that had not happened for thousands of years had never happened possibly was taking place. Sunlight was pouring inside, illuminating the intricate weave of ruins carved into the black stone. That was because one of its walls was shattered, fragmented fragments of obsidian falling down like hail. The Mad Prince and Asterion had shattered it as they fought, reshaping the interior of Nether's tower with the unbridled fury of their bloody clash. And one thing I want to also tell that if you seeing me hunching forwards, because I have injured my neck, I have strained my neck and it hurts. So I'm uh, I'm hunching forward a little bit. The azure sky outside was vast and radiant. Below, wisps of white fog drifted eerily above ground. There was one thing missing from the picturesque scene, though. the Night Garden. Soon after Mordred boarded it, the Titanic ship drove into the darkness of the sky below and disappeared from view. Not that Cassie had time to appreciate scenery. The floor beneath her feet was cracked, and the ceiling looked like it could collapse at any moment as well. She had kept herself safe in the carnage of the battle between a supreme and a corrupted titan, but just barely. Her consciousness had expanded to encompass the perspectives of countless humans, here on the Chained Isles, in Bastion, in Ravenheart, and in other places as well. And now she was swiftly erasing the memories of Astrian from their minds. As she did, the hunger domain dwindled, it grew weaker, and in turn the Dreamspawn grew weaker as well. He was about to be dealt more blows though. Far away in Bastion, Effie was locked in a vicious fight against the Homo homunculus of Clan Valor. The throne room of the Mirage Castle was echoing with the low hum of vibrating metal. That was because the air was filled with razor sharp metal strings that the supreme demon wielded as a weapon, aimed to entangle Cassie. Sorry, Effie. My mistake. Aimed to entangle Effie and cut her body apart. Her armor was holding for now, but it was already breached and shredded in a dozen places, crimson blood flowing freely down the polished steel surface. Damn it. The strings were so thin as to be invisible and moved in a way that defied all logic, making it almost impossible to evade him. Anyone else would have been sliced open and dismembered by the storm of razor sharp wire, crumbling to the ground as morbid pile of cleanly severed flesh. But Effie was different. Her awakened ability made her skin as durable as steel, so she was in one piece for now. Fell in two pieces, technically. Her missing hand was out there somewhere, left in the dark cell in the dungeon beneath the ancient castle. Regardless of what Regardless, that was why the homunculus was having trouble killing her immediately. He had myriad other ways to deal with her, though. His preferred method seemed to be strangulation. So, if he was forced to constantly struggle against razor sharp strings that tried to cut into her neck. She was losing a lot of blood, but the homunculus was not unscratched either. He evaded her attack with eerie speed, instantly creating distance between them the moment she got close. The most disturbing part of it all, however, was that he did not even need to flee. After all, the thing possessed terrifying physical strength far more than any saint could ever wield. Any saint except for Effie, that was. She judged that this supreme demon was as strong as she was, or rather, she had been. Now her emaciated body was weak and frail, overcome by exhaustion. Effie was a pale shadow of her former self, so much so that her muscles and bones were struggling to endure the daunting strain of her aspectability. She had to push herself to the limits to contend against the homunculus. I'm not being able to say it again and again. So I'm going to just say it a golem wherever this words comes. So she had to push herself to the limit to contend against the golem, and while the power granted to her by her aspect remained the same, the flesh that was meant to sustain it had become much weaker. As a result, with every blow she dealt, with every movement she made to evade the enemy attacks, with every step, every leap, and every lunge, her body was slowly destroying itself. Okay, wait a moment. Why am I having this music at the back? It's battle. I should have a battle music. Just wait a moment. I will change the music and come right back. This music should be better. Let's continue reading. Okay. She had to push herself to the limit to contend against the golem, and while the power granted to, I think I read this one, her body was slowly destroying itself. Tiny cracks appeared on her bones, the muscle fiber tore, the ligaments did as well, making her feel like a walking vessel of pain. A limping vessel of pain, more like. If this continued, the thing that had pretended to be the old butler of Clan Valor would not even have to kill her. Her body would simply destroy itself, collapsing, collapsing in a gruesome act of self inflicted devastation. But it hadn't yet. Effie grinned as she pushed through the pain and dashed for towards um, the golem. The razor sharp strings could only be seen when they glistened in the light, so she used her hearing to await them instead, listening to the sound of air being cut in order not to cut herself. In this moment of dire pressure, her body reduced to a walking ruin. Facing a superior opponent, Effie fell back on the bestial instincts and allowed them both to shape her mind and guide her body. People love to talk about mindless beasts, but only those people who had never faced a predator. There were nothing mindless about beasts of prey. They were strong and ferocious, yes, but they were also cunning, patient, and discerning. One had to be to survive the hunt. And Effie was an accomplished predator. In fact, she was a predator who hunted predators, which made her a monster. Perhaps her instincts had not been simply passed down to her. They had been honed and tempered by years upon years of hunting and killing powerful nightmare creatures. So even if her enemy was faster and stronger than her, even if her body was slowly failing, even if blood flowed like a river from the countless cuts littering it, even if the King of Swords, the madman, had not only imbued the golem with an infinite length of razor sharp strings that could cut the flesh of saint like butter, but also with a small fragment of his will, Effie was intending to win. I think it's going down the route of her becoming a supreme also. In truth, she wasn't simply chasing the golem. There was a pattern to her movement, a hidden intention. She was leading him away from the throne, and when the thing disengaged once more, instead of chasing it, Effie dashed back. Several strings instantly wrapped around her neck, screeching against her armor as they cut it and bit into her skin. A sharp pain pulsated in her head, and her fingers, with which she tried to pry the razor wire off, were suddenly slick with blood. But Effie did not stop. Instead, she tensed the muscles of her neck to keep her head on her shoulders and pushed harder, throwing the golem off balance and dragging him with her. A moment later, she let go of the sharp wires and grasped the golden spear lying on the steps of the throne. Effie's blooded lips twisted into a smile, illuminating her gaunt face. Hey, old man, I warned you, didn't I? She raised her maimed arm and rested the shaft of spear on it, aiming the spearhead at the golem. She couldn't really wield a spear effectively with one hand, not without a shield at least, and not in a fight against a supreme devil. But that was not going to be a problem. I told you to hand it off voluntarily. With that, she changed her grip and drew the spear back. Wielding a spear was a problem. Throwing a spear, though, that could be done with one hand. In fact, it couldn't be done any other way. She would have liked to see a person who held a spear with both hands when throwing it. The issue, of course, was that once the spear was thrown, there was no going back. So she had to destroy her enemy with that single throw. Inhaling deeply, Effie focused all of herself, all of her that remained, and took a step forward. Her whole body moved in a graceful unison, turning into a dreadfully powerful, transcendent slingshot. Slingshot, more than powerful, really. Utterly devastating. The throne of the Mirage castle was in the way of her throw, so the spear shattered it first. There was a deafening boom as it broke the sound barrier as well, and then there was a flash of light. The spear Effie had thrown seemed to teleport from one place to another in a blink of an eye, causing a small hurricane to explode in the vast throne room. It breached the distance between her and the golem, and stuck it right in the middle of the chest, throwing the creature back a great distance and impaling it on the wall. Effie, meanwhile, let out a pained cry and collapsed on the floor. She had put all her remaining strength into that one throw, and the round rebound was simply vicious. She was pretty sure that her wrist was broken, her shoulder was dislocated, her muscles were a thing of the past, and the floor beneath her feet was covered in a net of cracks. But the golem, is that thing dead? Effie groaned and picked herself off the floor. There's a scenario change. In the Jade Palace, Jet assumed her human form and entered the Great Hall, looked up at the immense circle of the shattered window with a lost expression. However, her shock only lasted a few seconds. She sighed deeply. The dragon was gone, and Kai was gone as well. That meant that her friend and champion companion had just sacrificed himself. Perhaps he would be able to survive, but it was highly unlikely. At best, he would be able to lead the cursed devil far away. At worst, he would only be able to buy her a few moments. So she could not waste these precious moments. They had been bought at too high a cost to be squandered because of emotions. Gritting her teeth, Jet turned and rushed towards the gateway behind her. Fiend cautiously glanced inside the hall, turned his head this way and that, then finally followed her. Look at me, observing the Jade Palace. Jet had been the government envoy to Clan Song once. Who would have thought that she would be claiming their great citadel as her own one day? Life was truly unpredictable. Death was unpredictable too, so Jet's existence was bound to be full of surprises. Reaching the gateway, she concentrated on tethering herself to it. The process of anchoring herself to a citadel was instinctual to all saints, only slightly different from placing a tether, which all of them learned as masters. However, it was a bit more complicated if there was already a transcendent ruling the citadel. In that case, one had to destroy their terror first and overwrite it. That took time and concentration, not to mention power. So Jet was full of cold apprehension as she concentrated on destroying the tether of whoever it was that had taken the Jade Palace from Kai. By the feel of the tether, it was probably Seshan, and Jet wasn't sure. All she was sure of was that if the train came back before she finished, she would be immediately and irrevocably destroyed. But the dragon did not come back. In fact, there was no sign of it by the time Jet finished connecting herself to the Jade Palace. The spell whispered into her ear, and she felt a latent connection to the citadel take hold in her soul. The Jade Palace was hers. Jet remained motionless for a few moments, then turned to Fiend. Guard this place well, alright. Guard it with your life, if need be, for as long as you can. He glared at her from below, then clanked his metal fangs and breathed out a plume of flame. Wretched. Jet blinked. Was that ear piercing metal screech the little devil's voice? Since when could he talk? She smiled faintly. Yes, indeed, it's quite drenched, all of it. As the smile drained from her face, Jet threw one last look at the broken window, at the vast sky beyond it. Then she pulled on her tether. Conquering Ravenheart was not the only thing Cassie had asked of her. In fact, the complicated part was only about to begin. As Fiend hid himself in the shadows of the gateway, Jet crossed the realm boundary and appeared in the waking world. She appeared in NQSC, and when she did, Cassie's power reached the great city as well. In the sky above the spiraling cityscape of Ravenheart, I think we are going to look at Kai. A breathtakingly radiant white dragon was chasing one with scales the color of midnight sky. As it did, the flakes of ash swirling in the air froze and fell down like hail. People below pointed at the sky and shuddered as a terrifying cold permeated their body. Kai was flying faster than ever before, pouring all of his willpower and determination into only one thing: speed. The cursed devil was immeasurably stronger than him, larger than him, fiercer than him, but it was not faster than him, and that was what Kai had bet his life on. But even if he was strong, he would have still made the same choice. It wasn't even worth thinking about. The scope of the threat Asterion posed was not only dire, it was absolute. It was utter destruction of humanity, of everyone Kai knew and loved, and everyone he had never met. But even worse than that was the fate they would all have to endure before being destroyed. Kai had gotten front row seats to what Astrion's power did to people, how it twisted them and made them into something that they were not. It was an ugly and repulsive atrocity, one that might have been even worse than what the Dreamspawn had in store for the world in the end. No one deserved to live like that before they died. So Kai had done what he had to do. He lured the cursed devil away, giving Jet a chance to take Jade Palace. And now he was being chased by the ancient fallen god. Kai felt like he was suffocating. The fierce will of the white dragon tore at the world, shrinking the distance between the two of them. It made the wind assault Kai whilst supporting his enemy, weighing down his wings and made him dazed. But even if the white dragon grew closer, the air around Kai gradually growing unbearably cold, he pushed himself forward, faster and faster, and faster still, as fast as was humanly possible, and then beyond that. The bridge flashed below them, then the vast sprawl of streets that had grown on the slopes of the volcano, and then the volcano itself, until Kai dove into the clouds of ash rising from its smoking caldera. The white dragon was had the white dragon had almost caught him by then, but Kai did not try to leave the volcano behind or continue to flee. Instead, he let out a quiet roar, folded his wings, and plummeted down. Kai fell like a black spear, piercing the billowing pillars of smoke as he plunged into the incandescent lava. The heat immediately assaulted him, making him feel like he was going to melt, despite the protection granted to him by the Dragon Slayer attribute. It was no ordinary lava after all. The volcanoes of the mountain chain that protected the world from the cold encroaching from the west was mysterious and mystical. Having been created by the former ruler of the Jade Palace, the Jade Queen, with the help of the Great Citadel, still, even if he was suffering from the heat, Kai dove deeper into the lava, past the ruins of the ancient city carved into the interior walls of the volcano, and through the roof of the magma chamber, shattering it, and deeper still, deeper, deeper, and deeper, into the molten depths of earth. What the fuck is going on, man? Where the fuck is Kai going? He's going into like the core of the earth, into the unknown and terrifying realm of heat and fire, where the horrors of from whom the inhabitants of ancient city had been desperate to protect themselves dwelled. By then Kai was not simply suffering from the heat. He was burning. He was burning alive. But that was not important because the white dragon had followed him into the fiery depths. Up above, the lava froze solid from the cold that emanated from the cursed devil. But the deeper they dove, the hotter their surroundings were, and at some point, the white dragon did not sap warmth out of the lava anymore. Instead, it was lava that was sapping the cold out of the dragon. And so, suffering unimaginable pain, Kai dove even deeper. Man, what the fuck is Kai doing when he's going like the core of the world? What is he going to do there? It's, if I think Kai is going to reach a supreme level as well. If not, then I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know. And that's it for this chapter. The overall thoughts are absolutely crazy and crazy. Kai is crazy. Kai is a crazy guy. Chet is helping Cassie in her plan. Effie is also trying to help fighting. See through the spear, the divine spear, and now Kai is fighting a cursed devil on his own. Man, it's he's a saint. He's not even a supreme. It's like it's a whole new level of feat to be calculating. Even Sunny has not done something like that yet. Kai, as a transcendent beast, is fighting a cursed devil who is above him in class and above him in ranks as well by two whole ranks, and the ranks are exponential as they go up. So I don't know what's going to happen, but it's absolute peak. I will say that it's absolute peak. That's it for the video, and I will see you in the next video. And if you like the content, please make sure to like the channel and subscribe the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye.